For years, I felt like I could die any day. That's how sick I was, and I am incredibly grateful for that experience. These are the 5 life lessons I learned from that struggle. In this episode, we are going to break down the 5 life lessons I learned from battling a severe issue with my health. My hope is that for those of you struggling with anything big or small, you can take these same 5 things and apply them to your life so you can grow stronger despite the adversity that you are now facing. So for over a decade, I actually struggled with something called Barrett's esophagus. It got to the point where I literally did not think I would make it to my 25th birthday. I arrived at this point for a multitude of reasons. I drank a lot. I took a lot of unregulated supplements. I wasn't sleeping. I just wasn't taking care of myself, even though I looked healthy. Like, I worked out a lot. I ate the right things. I stayed lean. I was big, strong. But inside, my body was melting. Like, my esophagus was literally eroding. Just very difficult time on a daily basis. Difficulty breathing, chest restrictions, just tightness, heart palpitations, leading to panic attacks, all kinds of things, and they couldn't figure out what was happening for a long time. So that took place over the course of about a decade. It was horrible, where I felt like I could die any day for about 2.5 years. I spent most of that time on the couch just trying to get through the day. So what I want to do is kind of break down why I'm appreciative of that journey, the things that I've learned, how that's helped me and us get to where we are today. And give you guys some kind of take-home points that you can roll with. But when it comes to being sick or whatever it is that you're dealing with, physical ailments, problems with your health, they're not just physical. They have massive mental consequences. They affect every other area of your life, especially with what I was going through and just trying to survive each day. It was no longer going out with friends. It was really not living life. Felt like a shell of myself. We talked about this on a few podcasts, and we've brought up, even on our honeymoon in Maui, one of the most amazing places in the world, I couldn't wait to go home. The entire trip, I was looking for a reason to leave early and go home, back to my safe place. And I know a lot of you who have reached out on my channel, struggling with Barrett's, you've gone through similar experiences, and I know a lot of you going through whatever it is that you're going through can relate to a lot of these points. So I want to really highlight that concept again, surviving the day. You kind of remove yourself from all circles and you just focus on the things that provide the tiniest bit of comfort. And you get stuck in this pattern for a very long time. Like I said, my journey with this has been over a decade. It's only been a couple of years, thank God, that I've kind of circled back to feeling normal. Even when I was cleared of Barrett's esophagus, I had no energy. I continued to remain a shell of myself. Anxiety was still there. A lot of things that I kept having to fight through, and I still have to fight through and work through with these little changes. But I want to dive into these topics, 5 main lessons that I learned from this, because I think it's applicable regardless of what you're dealing with, any type of struggle, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, anything going on with your health. So let's dive right into these. The first one is that big changes happen over broad horizons. And the key to that is learning to be patient and learning to be extremely consistent, because the things you implement now will affect you in 3, 6, 12 plus months down the road. And that's why we focus on with our coaching and, everything we talk about through all our content. It's the lifestyle changes that make the biggest impact, not these short-term challenges.
A lot of people think they can just wait to start later. Whether it's short term, like I'll start on Monday, or I'll start next month, or longer term, I'll start doing that when, the kids are grown or time slows down a little bit. Time isn't going to slow down. And if you're not doing these basic principles and implementing these basic things now, you are going to pay for it as an older adult. Like, it's a non-negotiable. It's going to eventually hit you. You may feel fine right now. You may have the energy right now. You may be able to get by right now. One day you're not going to be able to. And that is probably the most important message we could ever tell you, because waiting is the worst thing you can do in any aspect. And even if you start small, like you said, like a lot of these things are going to need to be small shifts. Start those small shifts today, right now, after you listen to this podcast, and let yourself build up to where you want to be. Because if you don't, you're going to regret it when you are forced to later. And then nobody likes to be forced to do anything.
No, and it's the compound effect as well. You can build positive momentum and you can build negative momentum, and they're both equally as powerful. So, if you wait a week, that turns into a month, that turns into a year. And all the things on top of not moving forward, you probably didn't maintain where you were at with whatever it is that this focal point is. You probably got a little worse or a lot worse. And now you have this big overwhelming thing on your shoulders. And maybe you're already at that point now and you feel like, well, what's the point of even starting? I'm so far behind. Well, it's the same conversation next year, 5 years, 10 years from now. Again, if the more you wait or the faster you initiate a reaction, you're building that positive or negative momentum. And to kind of go back to, my struggle with Barrett's, I took about 2 or 2.5 years, in my estimation, to destroy my health. Heavy drinking, blacking out all the time, unregulated supplements. Thank you, Jack 3D. That is now banned and removed from the face of the planet. All kinds of things. In 2.5 years, it took me to destroy my health. So to expect that the things I was doing to heal were going to happen in a month, in 6 months, in a year is completely unrealistic. And that's the mindset a lot of people go into this stuff with is, I'm going to shift this and I'm going to be feeling much better next week. I hope I really see a lot of improvements, by next month. It's not going to happen. And when you get discouraged by that and you stop doing those things, you're right back to square one. You're starting over. That's the up and down roller coaster so many people find themselves on. You have to get out of that mindset. You have to go into this knowing it's for the long haul. And that's why we say lifestyle changes, not challenges. Challenges can be great to jumpstart momentum, but you need to have some kind of underlying common denominator that you can continue for life. Because if you're not doing this for the rest of your life, if you're not maintaining the practice, you don't maintain the result. You don't maintain the benefit or see any of the benefit. It just literally evaporates. So when I say I struggled with Barrett's for over a decade, a lot of that was the healing journey. And even after being completely not even just focusing on managing the symptoms and starting healing, even after I was cleared, it still took another 3 or 4 years to feel normal. And I didn't deviate from that routine over the course of those 12 or 13 years. The things that I learned that helped me thrive, that helped me feel better, I knew would compound. So from going from feeling like death to just not feeling like dying to eventually feeling those very subtly, that's progress. And knowing that would continue to compound over time to the point where now I do feel normal. I do feel 1,000 times better than I did during my darkest days. So this isn't a short-term thing. It took you a while to get to that point. It's going to take you a long time, in my case, quadruple the amount of time to heal as it took me to destroy myself. And that might be incredibly discouraging, but you're going to feel better along the way. So it's not going to be point A to point B transformation next month. You're going to notice very small changes. You need to learn to appreciate those.
That's what I was going to say. It's not like you're going to see no progress in a month. You might feel better in certain aspects, but you have to appreciate every small, tiny little inch that you move forward throughout the process. And that's really where I think we have to adapt the mindset of embracing this and enjoying the journey rather than just being so hyper-focused on the end destination. Because if that's you're going to get to that end destination and still be unhappy because you did not do the work to be happy on your way there.
You've literally already mentioned 2 of my follow-up points over the course of your conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll dive right into the next one. Number 2 is embracing the journey. So live in the present moment. Don't wish time away and always be learning. So even in the depths, the deepest, darkest depths of your struggle, there are very important lessons to be learned. And that can be difficult because, focusing on mindfulness, meditation is living in the present moment. If the present moment is a very dark place for you right now, that might sound painful. It might sound like the opposite of what you want to do. You might, right now want to make this all fast. You want to fast forward through it. You want to, blur it out with alcohol, with drugs, with TV, with the things that kind of take you away from reality. You need to feel it. You need to simmer in it. You need to marinate in it. and learn from it. How did you get here? Why are you here? And what do you need to do? What lessons can you learn from this to make your life better? Because I can tell you where we are right now would not have been the case if I didn't go through that struggle. I am pretty tame now, I would say. I was wild, absolutely wild up until I was diagnosed with this. And it was to the point where I actually, I'm not religious. I believe in a higher power. I love the concept of Buddhism. But I was basically asking a higher power to put the brakes on for me, to do something for me, asking for help. And when I got hit by this train, I kind of recognized it as that. Even when it got really, really shitty, I kind of recognized that as what I was asking for. Like, if you believe in God, like God isn't going to deliver you exactly what you've been praying for, exactly in the way that you asked for. It's not going to show up on your doorstep, delivered in a box. And I got an ugly box, but it was exactly what I asked for. The things that I was doing, I had to stop. Like, not even because I wanted to. Like, I would have kept drinking. I tried to drink through it. I stopped getting drunk. I literally my symptoms were immediate when I started drinking again. Chest was tight, couldn't breathe, heart palpitations, absolutely no buzz, not getting drunk at all. Was that the way that I wanted it to happen? Was that the help that I wanted? No, it was not. But I am grateful that I got it, because wrapping back to this point of where we are now and where I would have been, I wouldn't be here with you. I have no idea. Could be in jail, could be partying it up, living a lifestyle that was going to lead me down this path later in the road. So again, a blessing that I was hit by this train, this truck early enough in my life to be able to recover from it, to learn from it, to apply it, and make the rest of my life better because of it. I work harder now. I love to learn. My lifestyle choices, the roles and the regimens we set for our family wouldn't look anything like this had I not gone through those dark days.
Yeah, and I think that bled over into me in a way. Obviously, I stopped drinking for my own reasons too, but when we met, I was still, like, there was a couple times in San Diego where I had a few drinks, like once right before we met, and then I remember when your cousin came to visit, I had a couple drinks with them kind of just nonchalantly, and we had a conversation that night, and it just became something where I didn't want to do it anymore because I saw how much it impacted you. And I also didn't like the way it made me feel either. Like, there were other reasons, but I probably would not be where I am today if we didn't go through that. And I think I was at the point in my life at that time where I was like kind of casual with alcohol and thought I could just kind of like have a glass of wine here and there, but that's not the lifestyle I wanted to live either. And I think it took that conversation that night for me to really be aware of what I wanted. And we probably would not, like you said, we would not be sitting here right now. We would not have those two incredible kids in the other room. We would not have SD Evolution. We would not be talking on this podcast. So that decision and that box you were delivered gave you all of this, even though you couldn't see it initially.
1,000%. And again, not that you mentioned it, but this does go right into the next point. Your circle of support matters. So you will inevitably fall into the behavior patterns of those around you. You need to surround yourself with people who will have a positive impact. So for myself, I cut myself off from everyone else because my circle was still partying. They were still drinking a lot. There was no such thing as casual. It was balls to the walls. When things happened, things happened. So drinking was gone, but surrounding myself with people in the gym. So those who like to work out. So I was still working at a gym at this point in my life, spending more time there, in that productive environment, around positive people, just recognizing who was going to give me some type of positive impact, who was going to have a good impact on my life and the way things needed to be. I lost a lot of friends during that period. Like, my entire group was very into that. Like, we were the party house in college. We continued the party like all day, every day. And even my closest friends, it took a very long time Like it was constant pressure. Just come out, drink a little bit or whatever. Don't drink. Just come out, come out, come out. It wasn't even just drinking. I needed to sleep 8 hours or I felt like I was having a heart attack the next day, every single day. And they didn't get that. And they were actually mad at me for a long time for being selfish, which technically I was.
I don't think they understood the severity of how you felt though. Cause I know for me too, like I think we ended up having a conversation down the road later of just how bad you felt. And I remember it was like, you were upset. Like I totally didn't really understand. And I think for them, I'm speaking for them, but they just did not, they just kind of thought, oh, like you don't feel good. You have a headache kind of thing. Like they didn't truly understand what you were going through daily.
No, for sure. And one of them confirmed that at work. I think he worked with someone who had Barrett's as well. And he would joke around about all the shit that he gave me. And the guy was like, dude, you're being an asshole. Like, this is the real deal. Like, there's a lot of stuff that goes on with this. And he actually reached out after that point. He's like, I didn't know that. Which I appreciated. But again, we're still very good friends to this day. But it took my closest friends a very long time to understand what I was going through and the support that I did need. But paying attention to that, like there are some people who you may still engage with that you're not that close with that you can just cut right off. If they're negative influences, they have a negative impact. And that's a hard thing to say, but especially as you get older, as you have more responsibilities, as obviously you're raising kids and, trying to climb the ladder at work or whatever's going on in your life, things you want to improve with, you have less and less time for any extracurriculars. So you have to be very strategic with who gets your time, who gets your energy, who gets your focus. So a lot of times this is just a good life practice. Like shut down those who are not a positive impact, take them out of your circle, see them once in a while at social engagements, but don't go out of your way to be with them. And that sounds harsh, even coming off my tongue right now. Like it doesn't sound great. You want to be with the community. That's fine. But we're talking about the people who are going to impact your life, who are getting your specific energy and focus. You have to be very strategic with that. So again, being very diligent with who you allow in your circle of support. Number 4, you already mentioned this off the top, but there is no such thing as a small thing. The small things lead to big things. This goes back to consistency. This is the essence of the butterfly effect. So the butterfly flaps their wings 100 miles away, potentially impacting a hurricane and its destination and, how strong it gets. So the little things lead to huge things over time. This is what we talk about with habits a lot. Small changes that lead to dramatic transformations over time. We want to create these small unbreakable chains. It's like, again, I use this example a lot, but if your goal is reading a book per month, reading 2 pages per night before bed would be the habit. More often than not, you're going to go above and beyond that, but every single day, that's the box you're going to check. Like it's not difficult. It's not overwhelming. So just kind of coming up with these tiny things that allow you to move towards your goal or that allow you to move towards healing, the things that make you feel good. Just the little, you don't need these massive, elaborate routines, especially your morning routine. You want to start your day, but have 3, 4, 5 things that help move you in the right direction and allow you to build positive momentum.
If you're type A, perfectionist mindset, very all or nothing, you're going to struggle with this one because you're going to want to change everything at once. You're going to want to go big. You're going to want to get things right and do them at 100% every single time. You're going to thrive more when you realize that you don't need to be that way. And it's not an easy mindset shift to make. This is something we work on a lot with our clients. But when you understand that you can do things small and do things messy and not be perfect all the time with them, that doesn't mean you're not consistent, but you're not like 100% perfect every single time. You're going to be able to enjoy this a lot more. And it's going to allow you to be more consistent in the long run because you're letting go of that perfectionist mindset. So understand that it's not an easy switch if you are somebody who is very regimented type A, like needs things to be done a certain way, but there is a lot of beauty and reward when you understand that you can do it messy.
It should also be encouraging. Like it doesn't take a lifestyle overhaul to change your life. It's the decisions that you're making throughout the day. One mantra I've been living by past couple of weeks, and I'm trying to embrace it and think about it and be proactive in everything I do, is how you do one thing is how you do everything. So being intentional about that and not letting this one little thing slide because it doesn't matter. Everything matters. The things that you are putting your time into, your focus into, they matter. So being intentional about that, putting my best foot forward, if I'm going to do something, to just do it. And that's going to look a couple different ways. But the main aspect in this is if you are going to commit to something, come up with things that are not massive to-dos on a daily basis. They're not going to take you even a half an hour for a lot of this stuff. Like, what's going to take you a minute? What's going to take you 2 minutes? And as you check that box, again, we talk about positive momentum. You feel really good about that. You get a little dopamine drip because you accomplished something that you set out to do. And that's your body saying, yes, we're going to continue this. This feels good. So you take these 3, 4, 5 small little check boxes, reading your 2 pages, drinking your morning glass of water, taking a walk with the family in the morning after breakfast or lunch or before dinner, after dinner, whatever your box looks like. The decisions throughout your day, not even your habits, just the decisions that you're making throughout the day, improve significantly because you're building momentum. You already got a couple things done first thing. You feel really good about that. You're excited to get to the next one. And it just becomes a subconscious venture where I want to continue to make good decisions, whether this is a specific habit or not. I'm going to choose to, walk to the store instead of driving if it's right down the block. I'm going to choose to, swap out this candy bar for a banana or a piece of fruit, whatever. Like little things like that. Little decisions throughout the day, work-related, health-related, spiritually related. They just improve over time because of that. So little take-home point on that regard is just don't look for the big things. Look for the small things that lead to the big things. Write them down and do them consistently.
Every single morning I've been posting on my Instagram stories, a little poll, and it started off as like the morning water poll, but it's evolved now into like the self-care poll. So have you taken 5 minutes to yourself to start the day before you start serving everyone else? Parents, this is especially for you. For me right now, it's my morning workouts, which are a little bit longer, but I'm very clear in my poll that 5 minutes can make such a significant impact. Just taking those 5 minutes. And we talk about this all the time on the podcast. When we don't do that and the kids just wake us up or we sleep in, our day is crap. And I'm not like exaggerating, like we'd make the best of it, but I noticed my fuse is shorter. I'm more anxious. I'm more stressed. I'm just like not in a great headspace because I didn't take just a few seconds for myself. So this could be, like you said, as small as starting your day with some water, and maybe you jot down 3 things that you're grateful for. It takes 5 minutes. Read a couple pages of a book that you're enjoying. Just simply get up and get yourself together for 5 minutes. If you can do a full workout, do a full workout. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. If you have more time, great. But that simple, tiny little habit of taking those 5 minutes minimum can create such a ripple effect throughout your entire day. It gets all your kids in the right mindset and in the right place to have a good day for themselves. It's incredible. So that's just one example of how this aspect of things can make such a difference in your life.
And that's an immediate impact. An immediate difference. It takes a parent, an adult, 5 minutes to just whatever, if they need to just stand outside on the porch and breathe for 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. You're going to have a much better day. Your kids are going to have a much better day that day. So that's, if there's one thing you guys can take home from this episode and start doing tomorrow, it's that. And
if you're not doing that right now, it's going to sound silly. It's going to sound impossible. I don't have time for this, blah, blah, blah. You're going to make all the excuses in your head. I have people DM me all the excuses every day. But start small. It cannot ever be too small to make an impact.
My first thing, I've condensed my morning routine to literally just journaling, because that's been my one little thing, because I'm just trying to blast through content before the kids wake up and all the little things they have to do on the back end. But 3 minutes to journal. Today I feel ... fill in whatever I'm feeling. Intentions. I will be present. I will be compassionate. I will be positive. And then 3 things I'm grateful for. Literally takes 3 minutes. And just do, if I wake up late, like on the weekends, if the kids are getting up at 7 and I'm up at 6:55 for whatever, if I'm just needed to sleep, I run out, do that, and I'm immediately ready. Like I'm good for the day. From that one little thing that took 3 minutes, that was for me. It centers me, grounds me for the day. And again, like you said, the fuse is longer, you're ready to go, and you have more to give to the kids, so they're going to have a better day too. Number 5, guys, life is too short to settle. And this might be the biggest one. And this might be the biggest big picture take home, I think, that, it'll take more to apply. But I hope that you learn to implement this across your life. For me, it started with not settling for managing symptoms. My doctor said, you're not going to heal. The goal is to not get cancer, not let this develop into cancer. I didn't accept that. Even as things got worse, like I got the high-grade dysplasia, which is the step before cancer. That was always I said, can I heal? What can I be doing to heal? I got a 1-page paper on some things I could do to manage Barrett's esophagus. That was the extent of our conversation. I said, fuck that. And that's what led me, down the path of learning about fiber, of learning about gut health, of learning about the things that I could do to activate my parasympathetic nervous system and invoke healing. All the little things, lifestyle, sleep, diet, training, when you're eating, not just the things you're eating, but the spacing between meals and how long before bed do you need to stop eating. I did not accept that I had to feel like that for the rest of my life and that I had to be stuck on medication for the rest of my life. For those of you who don't know, I haven't been on medication since a couple years after I was diagnosed. PPIs, proton pump inhibitors, prevent your ability to absorb B vitamins. I noticed a significant change in my nervous system, anxiety. A lot of that was part of being sick, but I also attribute a lot of those side effects to the drugs. Felt like my hair was getting thinner. And then there's, there is some data to suggest you have a 33% increase in your likelihood for dementia if you are on proton pump inhibitors for, I believe it was 2.5 years or longer. Maybe it was 3. And I was right on that cusp of how long I was actually on those for. So even before I read that recently. But even before that, I don't want to be on these. That's my goal, is to get off of these. I never had actual heartburn. I think I did physical damage. It wasn't like a reflux thing when it comes to Barrett's. Anyway, I did not settle for that answer. I thought it was a dumb fucking answer. And I said, absolutely not. This is not my goal. I am choosing to heal. So we don't settle for normal. We've talked about this a lot. Normal is not optimal. I've carried this concept over to every area of my life. We hunt the things we want until we achieve them. And that hunt does not stop until we achieve them. We don't settle for any aspect. We don't settle for people saying this is just the way that it is. This is how it has to be. This is how it's always going to be. This is a fixed versus a growth mindset. If you're in a fixed mindset, you are missing out on life, and you are going to let people tell you, and you're going to let the norm dictate what your ceiling is. There are a lot of incredible things you can do, and you are the only person who is going to dictate that. And if you're in a fixed mindset, you are dictating that you are never going to reach those levels. You are never going to enjoy life to its fullest. You are never going to see your full potential and the impact you can have on the world. You can have an incredible impact on the world. It's up to you to do that, to find your gift, to find your niche, to find your uniqueness. Even if it impacts a couple people, a handful of people versus the entire world, you can do either of those. You can do anything with a growth mindset, going into that knowing that just because it hasn't been done yet doesn't mean it can't be done. So life is way too short to settle. This journey taught me that.
Preach.
Well, I hope you guys got something from these 5 incredibly important life lessons. Again, it was the darkest period of my life, and I am grateful that it happened. I was grateful during the journey. It's kind of a perspective shift. If you guys can learn to look for the good in something, and a lot of times it's very hard, but finding something to take away as a life lesson as you go through whatever it is you're struggling with. You're going to have, I don't want to say don't sulk, like you have your period where you can obviously grieve and live in the moment and be upset about whatever it is that you are struggling with, but don't stay there. Hopefully you have some people around you who can pull you out of that, but through awareness, we create change. That's our mantra here. And by being aware that you are going through this and it's okay to hurt, but understanding that you need to grow from it and be better from it. And, whether you end up teaching the world about this thing that you were able to overcome, or just some small application of that, look for that purpose. Find that meaning, and don't just sit in that. Don't marinate in it. Don't bask in it for longer than you need to. It'll change your life. So those 5 lessons, guys, for me, that I hope you were able to apply in your own life. Big changes happen over broad horizons. Learn to be consistent and patient. Embrace the journey. Live in the present moment. Don't wish time away. And always be learning. Your circle of support matters. There is no such thing as a small thing. And life is too short to settle. Now, if you guys are watching this on YouTube, we'd love to hear your comments in the comments, your experiences, things you're struggling with. We're doing everything we can to create this community. We've got the Facebook group. We've got our app. We've got one-on-one coaching. We want to hear from you. And if you have been watching these on YouTube, do us a favor, hit the like, hit the subscribe button. You'll be notified. It helps us tremendously grow the audience. Helps us tremendously to grow our audience with algorithms. Tells us that this video is beneficial. So if you're watching this, please do us a favor, hit that like and subscribe. If you're listening and you got some value from this, we talk about a 3-episode rule. If you go beyond those 3 episodes and you're really enjoying the content, it's helping you in some way, we ask that you please leave us a 5-star review. If you want to comment, that's even better in that review. That's great. If you don't have to, you can just hit the 5-star. Again, it helps us expand our audience. Our goal here is to provide free tools to as many people as possible. Insights for those who can't work with us in one-on-one or use the app. The app is our low-cost service there, which we're going to be upgrading significantly soon. If you go on our site, link in the show notes, Evolution is the code to get you a free month, and you can cancel anytime. We don't lock you into that. If you don't like it, jump out. But we've got thousands of people who have been in there that I've seen some incredible changes happen. But again, it helps us grow the audience by leaving that review. So we love you. We appreciate you. If you could do that for us,